Hello, everybody. Happy Friday, and welcome back to Jenny from the Chopping Block. And today I'm so honored and grateful to introduce to you Suzanne Smart. And I actually met Suzanne in my global mastermind, and we were discussing something this past weekend, and I thought she'd be a great guest to come on the show as I am going to be pivoting into highlighting what makes relationships great. And I want to bring on people who have successful relationships. But I thought this would be a great transition to bring on Suzanne to talk about maybe some things that we would have to fix in order to get into our next relationship. So Suzanne, welcome.
Thank you very much. It's lovely to be here.
Lovely to have you. And we talked a little bit earlier about how you're a trauma transformation coach. And if you could just explain to the audience a little bit more of the beautiful work that you contribute to the world.
Okay, so hi everybody, and it's great to be here. So yes, as Jennifer said, I am a trauma transformation coach, and I help women who have been through toxic relationships, whether that be through narcissism or abuse, domestic violence, and also work-related intimidation, to transcend the fear triggers that come as a result of these relationships by the past experience, and they can totally crush your self-esteem and your confidence. So I help these people who have been through these relationships to reconnect with their inner spark and increase their confidence levels, help them to create healthy coping mechanisms and tools, and propel them towards healing so that they can bring the sunshine back into their lives and live a life of purpose on purpose. I do that with a program that I developed. It's called Positive IMPRINT, and it creates lasting impressions for transformation. And it's essentially a rescue package for leaving that fear, the shame, the guilt, and the anger behind that can very often be experienced by these women who've been through these toxic relationships.
Beautiful. And I love that it's named Positive Imprints. Can you talk to me a little bit more about what inspired that name?
Okay, so the whole program actually was inspired by the fact that I left 2 really toxic relationships, and I thought I could never survive a third. So I had to develop something, find a way for me to break those patterns and get rid of those triggers, because they can just come at any time at all. You could be in a queue in a shop, and a sound or a smell, a colour, certain fabric, anything at all, the sound of footsteps, they can bring on these triggers, and it's totally involuntary. They start at your toes and work all the way up your body. For some people, it stops at their tummy. Some people at their chest. Other people at their throat. Some people, they vomit. Others, they faint. But it has to come out in some way, and it triggers that fight, flight, or freeze syndrome. And it is very real, and it's chemical reaction, and like I said, it's totally involuntary. So I was gripped by these triggers for a very long time, and just decided that I needed to do something about that. So that's how it came about. The actual name for the program happened when I was on my way back from my own healer. Every healer needs a healer, every coach needs a coach, yeah? I was on my way back from my healer, having been healed of some of the residual feelings and emotions. And I was coming back in the car, and what happened was, whilst I was in my semi hypnotic state being healed, my healer, she jumped back, and it scared me, but I was under, so I couldn't do anything about it. She then, when I came back around, I said, you jumped back. Why did you jump back? You felt that. I said, I did feel it, but just couldn't do anything about it. So she told me that she saw a picture of me being held up against the wall, this vision, by my throat, my feet off the ground. And I kind of went, yeah. And she said, I never knew. So, because I've never told anybody. And she said it left an imprint. And even now, if I do this, I can feel a sensation there. So it's not painful anymore. It doesn't, I can talk about this now and there's no emotion attached to it. But I thought, okay, so if he's left an imprint, it means that, that's what I have to do. I have to reverse that negativity from the imprint. So that's where Positive Imprint was born, on my drive back home.
Thank you so much for opening up and sharing that.
Mm-hmm.
I just had a question come in because I was curious. I met you on our Mastermind, but I also just want to know what brought you there. And I know that, sometimes I think the first day I met you, you were on another Mastermind kind of doing both. Like, what brought you into this space?
Yeah, I think it was for the content. At the moment, I'm looking for different content and still putting together my coaching, not putting together my coaching business, but I'm looking to scale and grow. And so I'm just passing through, if you like, and getting lots of different ideas before I commit to any one thing.
Beautiful.
Mm.
Nice.
I like to get a feel for different things, and then like, right, okay, that one speaks to me.
Mm-hmm. So what has been your biggest blessing doing this work of trauma transformation?
Oh my goodness. So gosh, that's a huge question because so many blessings come from this. Just seeing people's lives transformed. One particular lady who was a client of mine, she's in her 60s, mid 60s, and she went through her relationship, really awful marriage, in her 20s and 30s. And the very first day, my first module is called trauma triage, and we go through kind of from the very first time that people noticed that something wasn't right up to the present day. And we timestamp those, and then that helps me to get an idea of where they are and where the triggers come. And we identify all the triggers that we can then work on those, and I can heal through those. And our very first meeting, I woke up, and as my feet hit ground, I had this vision of her crying, sobbing on the end of her bed. She was still in a nightie, and she was trying to be able to text me to say, I just can't do this. I can't go there, And I was on the verge of ringing her, and I thought, no, she has to be accountable. She has to show up. Anyway, went through, and she did. She showed up, and she was absolutely in bits. So, I always say to my clients, for this first session, I'm there. Doesn't matter how long it takes. If you need to go away for an hour and cry or kick and scream, doesn't matter. I'll be there when you come back, and I leave the channel open. So anyway, as it happened, it just took 2.5 hours. And by the end of it, she was a completely different person. And I was able to tell her, I saw, I said to her, before you say anything, I saw you on the edge of your bed. She was like, oh my gosh. Told her what nightie she was wearing, that she was trying to text me. She said, that's exactly what it was like. So I know, I saw it. The vision just came to me. And now she lives in a community with other people in that age group, 60s up. And they were having terrible problems with the landlords and with the utility companies. And she has now become their warrior. And she's gone out and she's taken the landlord to task and the utility companies to task, and she's getting them much better service. So when they have a problem now, they all go to her and she just sorts it out for them. Absolutely amazing. That would never have happened before. She's gone on now and she's, this kind of community champion, if you like.
Beautiful.
So it's seeing transformations like that happen, and people just, not jumping at a sound or falling into a heap on the floor because they've smelt something that brings something right back to them.
How did you learn those tools to be able to walk people through that?
So I'm a Reiki master teacher, and I use all of my skills and expertise gained over kind of my lifetime, I suppose. So skills gained through Reiki, through NLP, CBT, counselling, mental health first aid and mental health first aider as well. So I use, and my own experiences. So all of those there. I'm also a teacher. So, all of my skills, all of my expertise go into my coaching.
Beautiful. And it's you told me you were an award-winning writer, and it's helping
Yeah.
you get your book out quicker. Can you tell me a little bit about that
Yeah.
experience?
So, right at the beginning, well, it was about May, I think, during lockdown. And I was thinking, I need to write a book. I really wanted to write a book to accompany my coaching program. So it was the best, thinking about what was the best way to do that. Anyway, with that, I was on one of my Facebook groups, and one of the hosts of the group put up a post that she was really honoured to be asked to judge at a writing competition. And I thought, ooh, that would be good, because it would help to focus me. Anyway, so I think the closing date was 5 days away. So, but it was to put out either one chapter or, yeah, it was one chapter. So I thought, yeah, I could do my chapter 1 and put that out. Why not? Got down to doing it, did the chapter, sent it off to a friend of mine to be edited. I was thinking, oh, when it comes back, she's going to tell me it's this, it's that, cut that. What did you talk about there? What's all that about? Anyway, it came back, it's just minor punctuation issues. And I said, are you sure that's it? She said, it's perfect. Send it off. And I still didn't send it off. I put it to one side and thought, I'll look at it tomorrow. And if I feel it needs any tweaking or anything, I'll do that then. And that was the Monday. The closing date was the Wednesday. And I thought, I'll set it aside till tomorrow. Looked at it Tuesday morning and thought, nah, it's going. And sent it in, well within time. And then in September this year, actually found out that I'd won. I found out that I was shortlisted. I was a finalist, then shortlisted, and commended, and then found out in September that I'd actually won a prize, which was the mentorship prize. I thought, when I got the notification that I'd won a prize, I thought, I'm not going to get too excited. It might be a mug, or which would have been fine, or a set of pens or pencils or something. So when I found out I actually won a prize, I was like, oh wow.
Nice.
Celebration time. Yeah, so that was a great honor.
Beautiful. Can you tell me about what you wrote and why you thought you won it?
Yeah, so I wrote about, it's the first chapter in the Positive Imprint book. So it's a book that's going to accompany my program. And essentially it's hints and tips. It's about the program, what we do, and with little bits of my story just woven in. So the chapter that I wrote was the P from positive, which is past to present, and that's where we do the trauma triage and go back to where it all started, and then coming forward to the present day before getting, highlighting the different trauma triggers. So that was the chapter that I wrote. Okay. So each chapter is going to be based on the module of the program.
And why do you think that they chose your piece out of all the ones they observed?
Well, she said that she chose my piece because I had a story. She could see that my story was really powerful from the first chapter. And also it's a business building book, and that's what she deals in, her specialism. And she said that she was impressed by my writing as well, which was great to hear. I thought, I can actually do this.
Very nice. And what about your story? Because I don't know your story. What about your story?
So my story is I came through 2 different traumatic relationships, and by the time I come through the second, I was so kind of beaten and battered and bruised mentally that I thought, if I got to go through a third one, I'm not going to last. I'm really not going to last. the kind of real hard-hitting story is going to be my preface, so I won't kind of give spoilers here. But you know, I had been through almost everything. I've been through the narcissistic side, the physical side, and the other way to keep people down is financial coercion. So I've been through mental coercion, physical coercion, financial coercion, and just got to the stage where I thought, if I don't do something about this now and leave, you know, my life is just going to go further downhill. The other thing is that I wasn't speaking about my story then, so nobody knew. I was, you know, I wore this mask every time I walked through the door, and to be fair, it was just my children that were keeping me going. People always say, you know, why don't you just leave? And it's very difficult because you have those bonds, you know, you have trauma bonds, you have bonds with the children, you have, for me, I was married. The second time I was actually married, and thought, you know, I've made my vows, so it's up to me to keep them, and it's up to me to try and find a way to work things through, not realizing at the time that, you know, if people are abusive, then they are abusive, and nothing you do is going to change that. They have to do that. So, you know, all the, you know, the hours I spent thinking, right, okay, if I change this, if I change this, if I just stop doing that, and if I start doing this, and what if I just find a different way around doing things? None of that matters, because, you know, you're playing rules, or you're playing the game by their rules. So, and the goalposts just keep changing. So it wasn't until I got my head around that that, you know, things became clearer to me, and I knew that I had to leave. But even after I left and couldn't move forward with my life, it became evident that I still needed healing. And whenever I heard certain sounds, I would start to clench, because so, you know, where I lived, if one of the girls came in and used the key in the door was one of my triggers. I got to understand. Certain car engine was one of my triggers, and hearing footsteps approaching the door, that was one of my triggers. So it was I knew that I needed to get rid of those triggers and cut the emotional ties to the events. So that's, you know, kind of my story, and how I came to thinking, right, I need to develop something now to do this. Once I'd done that, and I'd come out the other end, and I realized that there was no emotion attached to the events anymore, I thought I could actually help people to do that.
Beautiful.
You know, if I can do that, then anybody can do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love you. That's so beautiful that
Oh,
you
thank
made that
you.
distinction. You know, like you knew how much it helped you, and then you wanted to help others with what you learned. It's gorgeous. I want to go back a couple of steps and talk about narcissism, I guess you could call it, because I feel like it's a word that I've been hearing so much, like just kind of put my toe into this space, because, you know, everybody's like, watch out for the narcissist. And like,
Absolutely.
what is a narcissist for those people that don't know?
Okay, so a narcissist is, you can call them a wolf in sheep's clothing, because what happens is they know exactly what their agenda is when, you know, they meet you and they talk to you. And part of the reason that people actually bounce from one bad relationship to another is because the narcissist gains your trust. What they will then do, the big question for the narcissist is, so what happened in your last relationship? You know, and they gain your trust, and then you start to spill about what happened in your last relationship. So then instantly they know where your soft spot is. So what they will do is come, you know, like the knight in shining armor, and they will be your shoulder to cry on. They will shower you with praise and shower you with gifts, and that they love outgoing people. But then the minute that they kind of get under your skin and start to, their words and actions start to kind of wear away at your self-esteem. What they try to do then is what their aim is to take away the very essence of you. So for me, I'm really outgoing and, you know, really bubbly. I love lots of fun. If it's not fun, I don't want to know. And if it looks like something I need to do that isn't fun, I'll make it fun, because I just
My kind of girl.
yeah. Honestly, there has to be a fun element, or I'm just out. I'm checking out. So yeah, so yeah, anything that isn't fun, I'll find a way to make it fun. So, you know, they find what your essence is and what makes you you, and then they just chip away at that, you know. And so for me, going all the way back to the beginning, I can think of the very first time that one of those little chips started to come, and I didn't, you know, my antennae just didn't pick that up. And I was going to go out and buy some shoes. And I said, you know, so we were having the discussion, what's going on today? And I said, oh, I need to pop into town because I want to buy some shoes. So the reply came back, oh, is there some extra space there on the bedroom floor then? And for me, that was, you know, for me, I took it as a flippant comment. Ha ha ha, really funny. But then by the time I'd left, I had one pair of shoes to my name. So, you know, when I analysed all of these things and reflected, I went all the way back and I thought, good grief. If at that point I thought, hang on just a minute, yeah, how many pairs of shoes I have is my business, not yours. And, you know, it's my money that I've worked very hard for, so I will spend it where I want to. My bills are paid, and my, you know, my child at the time is very well dressed. We have a roof over our head, and, you know, my money, my games, my rule. Then it would have turned out completely different, but I just looked on it as a very flippant comment. So, you know, things then became increasingly more just disturbing, really. But by that time, you're already in that cycle, and your self-esteem is already being chipped away. So that's what narcissists do. They kind of chip away at who you are, and then you kind of look to them then for almost for praise all the time. And, you know, for a lot of people, and I suppose to an extent myself, it can end in you being unable to make a simple choice. What wine should we have with dinner? Oh, I don't know. What wine are you having? Where should we go on a holiday? Oh, I don't know. What do you fancy? You know, you become unable to just make a simple choice. Whereas once upon a time, you were the spontaneous one. You were the one saying, nah, sod that. Let's go here. Let's do that. That's no fun. Let's go there, you know? So so that's, you know, if, yeah, that's what narcissists do.
So why would somebody treat somebody that way? Like, where does this come from? I heard it comes from like the childhood, right? Like,
yeah, very often there's the child in them that has been through some kind of trauma themselves and has not healed. Very often they have a very poor self-esteem. And you know, that there's that saying, isn't it, that hurt people hurt people.
Hurt people. Mm-hmm.
And I found that to be true in both my circumstances and in other circumstances as well. When we look through the lives of the partners, they put on this, you know, persona as though they are, you know, somebody's knight in shining armor. They're very outgoing, but there's always a hint of anger. You know, for me, the anger didn't show till much, much later. And there's this, you know, this hurt child within that has just put this shell around them, and that's how they deal with that. And you know, they feel that if they can't control every situation, that they're going to lose control, and they can't afford to do that. They cannot afford to lose control, because it means that to them in their eyes that they are less of a person. So they have to make you less of a person so that they can kind of be that person that you look up to.
Oh God, yeah, I remember this now. So is there any like tips or tools that you could help us all like avoid that? Like, is there any warning, like major flags or warning signs to look out for in the
Oh
beginning?
gosh, yeah. Very often in the beginning, they will follow themselves to give you gifts and, you know, give you praise and to take you to the best places, and, you know, to be your best friend, really. And what I always suggest to my clients now is that, you know, suss somebody out before telling them why you last, you know, if you've gone through a toxic relationship, why you left that relationship. It's always better to hedge your bets and say something really general, like, you know, just wasn't working, just wasn't for us. You know, we left amicably, it was mutual. And, you know, that they don't like, they can't cope with sayings like that because it means that they have to meet you on a level. They don't like to meet on a level. So, you know, ask why their relationship didn't work or their relationships didn't work. Ask what they do for fun. Very often, they don't have very much fun, you know, or they will do things where they have to be in charge. You know, very often it's all about them. You know, ask them about them and try and shut them up. It's very often you can.
That's
And if they ask you
amazing.
for your opinion on something and you give them your opinion on something, wait for them to tell you all about what they think about that then. And why their opinion is right or why their opinion is fact. Because they, you know, it's all about them. They're the biggest, the best. You know, they're a very superlative creature. So just have lots and lots of conversations. And, you know, every time you turn it round to you or to something you've seen or something you've read or, you know, to a piece of research or something really interesting, it'll be, yes, well, right, okay.
Thank you. I'm definitely going to use that.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I've been out of the game for a long time, so I'm just newly stepping my toe in there, and
Yeah.
there's a lot to it that I just forgot
Oh gosh,
about.
yeah. Absolutely.
So did you want to talk about any of your speaking engagements or what you know is to come?
Okay, yeah. So speaking engagement. So the last speaking engagement I did was I spoke about fear and how you can make fear your friend, and all about you know, imposter syndrome, which comes along, which actually affects 80% more women than men, which I
Oh
found
wow, I
was
didn't know that.
shocking. Yeah. When I did the research on that, I found that highly, highly shocking. And incidentally, the higher up the ladder the women go, is the louder that voice comes, you know. Who do you think you are? What makes you so special? What makes you think you can coach people? What makes you think you can stand up and talk to people and give them value? You know, so the more the higher, there's a saying, West Indian saying, that the higher the monkey climbs, that the more he's exposed. So, and I think that's the case with women. The higher we get, is the more exposed we feel, because we're very used to historically being put into little boxes of, you know, we're mothers and we're caregivers and, you know, we're anything but speakers and CEOs and, you know, we really still don't belong at there.
Oh yeah, we do.
So yeah, we absolutely do. We absolutely do. But we tend to be put into these boxes that tell us that we can't, you know. So we have to keep telling ourselves that we are. We have to keep looking after ourselves and giving ourselves lots of self-care, telling ourselves how beautiful we are, telling ourselves how strong we are, telling ourselves how we absolutely belong in the upper echelons, and, you know, that we are almost 50-50 with men, depending on the age, sometimes a bit more, sometimes a bit less. But even it out, we're 50-50. And wherever life is, life needs a female perspective. So, that's where we belong.
I'm almost
So
surprised that this industry isn't led by women, just because of do you know what I'm saying?
it's
It's
because
a
we live in
question I have.
it's a patriarchal society, but it is being chipped away at very, 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 not even very slowly. It's very strategically being chipped away at the moment. And we're seeing more and more women just kind of, getting up those ladders and not falling back down the snakes anymore. We're climbing those ladders and we're staying there. We're taking the rungs out, and the men can't get up there and say no and knock us off the perch. We are there, and more of us are, joining those with the view at the top, and it's happening. But in order to do that, there's a process called filling your life cup. We need to keep doing that, because as women, we tend to give and give and give and give and give and give some more and then keep giving. And that's another way that the narcissist gets in. You give and you give and you give and you give some more. And you give from we tend to give from our own natural resources. So what we need to do is to keep topping up our resources, keep meditating, keep journaling, keep dating ourselves. I very often take
That's
myself
such a
on a
beautiful
date.
thing.
Nobody else is there. I turn my phone off, laptop goes away, it goes in a bag. And, even if it's for 15 or 20 minutes, do something just with you. Nobody else is involved. Yeah. And the best way I find to do that for myself is to go into the hot tub. I call it bubbles and fizz.
Oh yeah.
And I take a fizz and sit in the bubbles, just me. No one else is invited. The door can ring and knock. The phone can ring. I don't care. This is for me. I don't hear anything else.
It's funny you say that. I do that too.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. You really have to, because, you do everything for everybody else, so we really have to give to ourselves, fill our life cup. And once we do that, we start to overflow. And that's where the sweet spot is, in the overflow, because then you have enough to give and you have enough to keep your resources going and flowing. And every time we learn something, every time we experience something, magical, it goes into that life cup, and then it can overflow to everything else in life that we have to do. And it keeps us sane.
Absolutely gorgeous.
It really does.
I love that. That's a great reminder. And
Yeah.
I'm just so curious about your Reiki master healing. How did you get into that?
That's a good question. I was born actually with a healing gift. But I used to find that when I used it, so if anybody was in my proximity and they complained about something and I touched it and the pain went away, they would run a mile. So I stopped using it. I stopped telling people about it. I just stopped doing it. And I knew that I was going against kind of my whole essence and my core, but I could not deal with the rejection of that. So I went for tarot card reading. In fact, I went for two different times, about 3 or 4 years apart. And both ladies said the same thing. You've got a healing gift. You have to use it. I was like, oh, yeah, I know, but there's no buts. You have to use it. Right. Okay. I thought, fine. And they said, it's, that's your power. You have to use it. Right. So I came across Reiki and thought, perfect umbrella. Because it was something that people could Google for a start. But back in the old days, before Google, people could research this, and people would go, "Oh, I think I've heard of that." So it wasn't a case of me just saying, it was just a bit too woo-woo for people. Somebody that could touch you and, oh my gosh, the pain's gone. It was just too much to take in. And even when I say Reiki, I've had people go, oh, I've got, and you say, okay, right, and put my hand on it and take the pain away. And they go, what have you done? What have you done to me? Taking the pain away, isn't that what you wanted? And they kind of give you this sideways glance. Really? And I always say, you didn't think that was going to happen, did you? No, I didn't know what to expect. Well, there you go, So, and, I've had people totally say that, it's devil's work and and I'm really not. I do not work for the devil.
Sorry.
I really do not. I know it's hilarious. It really is hilarious. You think, I've just taken a pain away from you. Would the devil do that? Or would the devil give you more pain, So I've had that, So, and I've had people say all sorts of silly things. But that's how I kind of got into Reiki. And as I kind of became more confident in my own gift as well, I decided to use that and move up through. So, and then it incidentally, when I gained my my Reiki master teacher, that's when I was really healed. That was the session where I got the healing for, with the triggers and all the rest of it. So I know it works from my healer, and I know it works from people that I have healed. And that's how I got into that. Yeah, it was amazing. And I just absolutely love it. I don't even, I'll say now that I'm a Reiki master teacher, but it is me now, me and my healing are now just one. You can't separate the two now, which is awesome, to the extent that I can't take any kind of medication anymore. And I've never been able to really. I took when the contraceptive pills first came out, the injection. I took that, and I didn't know my up from my down for 3 months until it wore out.
What was it?
It was the contraceptive injection.
Oh, gotcha.
So this is like an injection. It lasts for 3 months because I'm super fertile, and I used to try everything, and nothing worked. Contraceptive pill didn't work. The injection didn't work. I honestly, anything that I have to take into my body just rejects it. So, and I healed myself. I had a back injury. I say an injury. I didn't do anything. I think it was just the culmination after, being separated. I moved for a few times, and I really wasn't taking care of myself. And still being affected by, my past. And I just couldn't wake up, couldn't get out of bed one Friday morning. Remember it to this day. And I crushed vertebrae in my back, the discs, between the vertebrae. I crushed them. And so the doctor put me on this really awful drug cocktail, which was shutting my body down, and my brain just went to mush. There were days I'd wake up and didn't even know who I was. I was bedridden for 6 months, couldn't move, couldn't walk, had to learn how to walk again, learn how to feed myself.
Oh my gosh.
It was horrendous. And I said this to the doctor, and the doctor said, no way you're going to be on these for life. And I thought, there's no way I'm not going to have a life if I'm on these. So I said, I'm going to wean myself off and just self-heal. Once I kind of, I kind of used to try and meditate, and the pain was so bad. I couldn't get through the pain. But I managed, just one day, I just had this breakthrough and just found this core, this little spark in my core, and thought, right, now I've got you, I'm not letting you go. And gradually weaned myself off the tablets and then self-healed. Every now and again, I still like fall over words, and I have what I call holes in my head, where words will just drop in, and I've got to wait till the bridge comes across and connects my cognitive system up, and then I can think of the words again. But that is nowhere near as bad as I used to be. So yeah, I don't do that anymore. So yeah, so Reiki and my gift, I tell you what, otherwise I would not be here now. I know I would not be here now.
And I've been so happy to see, like, now that it's starting to be covered by insurance and they're bringing it into hospitals. And,
absolutely.
it's, I was pleasantly surprised to see that. And just the benefits of people getting excited about something they can't see or understand. It's really nice.
It's just the belief, it's the faith. Absolutely. Yeah, it's great. I used to do it at a couple of schools that I was in, actually, which is fantastic. And it was great, especially for the students that had, learning difficulties and, cognitive issues and autism. It worked great, honestly. It's fantastic. And the teachers used to glow when I walked into their classroom and say, "Can I take little Johnny off?" Oh, yes. Yeah. They used to rejoice because they go back completely different children,
Can you talk a little on what Reiki is? Like, you're saying, like, you worked with them. Like, how could you explain it in a way that, like, somebody who has no idea what it is?
Okay, so Reiki is a healing mechanism, I suppose, that was it's a set. What happens is once you take on Reiki, you are what we call attuned to different symbols. So a Reiki master or a Reiki master teacher will draw different symbols on you. You go through a healing process yourself. So it's something, it's a bit like counselling, where to be a counsellor, you have to be counselled yourself and, dig into all your kind of little corners of your psyche that, you've shoveled away there and the dust has gathered. So it's a bit like that with Reiki. You have to go in, you have to have your own healing experience. And then you are given a first level attunement. You then go off and you're not you can't be insured, or you're not qualified to give Reiki to other people at that stage. It's all about your self-healing. And once you use that attunement, you meditate, you call on the energy, and it's the energy that you channel that comes through and does the healing. But you're at one with this energy. The energy then speaks to you and tells you where the blockages are, because we all have our chakra, different energy centers within our body, and it's normally a misalignment with these chakra, with these energy centers. So the Reiki will you'll tune in with the Reiki, and you'll be able to notice where the blockages are, either in your within yourself first of all. Then once you get up to your second stage, you're then qualified, because you have different attunements then to add to your first attunements, and you're qualified then to go off and practice with other people. So you can open up your own practice, and you work on animals. Reiki is fantastic with animals. And just channel that Reiki, channel the energy. You ground yourself and anchor yourself, so you're at one with divine energy and earth energy, and you will work together with that. Other people, they can bring in once you're at that kind of master level, then you can bring in other energy, so shaman energy and American indigenous Indian energy, and all different energy to help you. Can bring in your spirit guides to help, and you can connect. Once you're at a certain level, you can then start to connect with other healing energies, and that is wonderful when you can start to bring in the others as well.
I love that so much. Thank you for sharing that. It's amazing.
It is. It's just great. You go under and you can just feel that flowing, and then you wake, you think, ooh, that little click in my knee is gone, or I just feel just so refreshed. And sometimes that's all people need, is that just that time for themselves, just, to be under for an hour and have no one else kind of dip in and, ask for a cup of tea.
Great. Now I want a cup of tea. No, I'm just
kidding. Just to be you, just to be, we're human beings. Just
I had
be
a day yesterday
for a while.
to just be, and it was beautiful. And I found myself in a healing by one of my friends that's a monk, and I was just like, how did I even wind up here?
Yeah.
And he said at the end, like, thank you for co-creating this, like, and believing that you deserve this healing. And I was just like, oh, like, that was my day yesterday.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
now I'm grateful to be here with you talking about it.
Ooh, love it. Just bathe in it. Yeah.
Right?
Just bathe. Yeah, it's great.
So talking about healing, I mean, I'm really into the food aspect of our lives, and I'm just always so curious to know what your favorite food and or recipe is.
My favorite food. I love food, full stop. Yeah, so I'm always filling my face with something. But if you ask me my favorite, actually, I have two favorites. So cake is my first favorite.
What kind of cake?
Vanilla. I love a vanilla sponge. Vanilla.
Okay. Sprinkles?
Sprinkles. I love unicorn sprinkles.
Ooh.
Yeah, all the colors of the rainbow. Unicorn sprinkles.
I love it.
Love unicorns, full stop. If I could eat unicorns, I would eat unicorns.
All right, girl.
And my kind of on a par is chips, or fries, you call them. I love big, fat, chunky chips.
Steak frites.
Dipped in, yes. Steak chips dipped in mayonnaise with black pepper.
Okay.
So things that I love that I can't eat every day.
And do you have any recipes you want to share, like a traditional recipe that you love?
Oh my goodness.
Something you make that everybody loves?
Oh, I tell you what, I do a very mean, when I've drastically cut down on my meat and only eat organic grass-fed now, saving the planet and all that. So if I do, so just the other day I hadn't eaten meat in about 2 or 3 months. So I thought, I really fancy a steak. So what I have is a sirloin steak, and I have a pepper sauce, doused in pepper sauce.
What is pepper sauce? Is that the yellow one?
Peppercorn sauce. So it's kind of got oh gosh, how can I say? Grayish, almost bordering on gray brown kind of color, like a mousy hair color. Not quite brown, but not quite gray kind of color.
I never heard of pepper sauce.
Whole peppercorns. Yeah, so you make your white sauce, and it's got to be with a cream sauce as well. So you make your white sauce, lots of double cream, and you could put a bit of white wine in there as well if you want to.
Yeah.
And then you fill it with whole peppercorns.
Okay.
And you can have rainbow peppercorns as well if you want to. Yeah, I love rainbow peppercorns. And simmer them just for the last 10 minutes. Just simmer the steak in there, and it's melting in your mouth. It's beautiful. And I have that with grilled tomatoes, sweet corn, onion rings, steak fries, obviously, and onion rings, chips, tomato. I call it steak. Sounds like the big five, and
what
mushrooms.
Time is dinner?
And mushrooms, garlic mushrooms. Yeah. So garlic mushrooms, sweet corn, chips. What was the other one?
You said onion rings.
Onion rings and
sweet corn, grilled tomato.
Yeah. Is that 5?
Yum. I think so. Yep.
Yeah. So steak and the big five.
Beautiful.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So if anyone's coming for dinner, when people used to come for
you.
dinner, that
Right.
was, oh, you're doing your steak.
How are things there right now? Are you guys on lockdown?
We are on lockdown, yeah. Although there's not that much difference because, schools are still open, and you only notice a difference when schools are closed because there's far less traffic on the road then and things like that. But places that people would normally congregate, so gyms and cafes and swimming pools, anything close contact, salons and places like that. So, that's having an effect because, a lot of people, that's their kind of top up, isn't it? That's their kind of fill your life cup activity. So
absolutely.
So looking out for people that are missing activities like that. Yeah. So.
And I wanted to ask you, even though you have your superpower of being a healer, if you could pick a superpower, what would that be?
Oh, if I could pick another superpower. Ooh, I think my superpower would be. Ooh, that's a good one. Superpower. Oh, I think I could have a world full of cake. I think if I could zap my finger,
I love this.
And cake would come out of my finger. Wow. Vanilla.
Yes.
Yeah. So vanilla with my right hand and red velvet with my left. I love a proper, back home red velvet cake. So yeah, I think if I had a superpower.
I think someone needs to self-care with some cake soon.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I think so. I'm missing cake. I haven't had cake for a while. Evidently.
I love that. Now I'm going to want cake and I'm going to have to make cake.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah. Cake makes everything better for me.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And my last question is, I know we spoke a little bit earlier about how good this time has been for you. And I always like to ask my guests, like, maybe if there's something that you worked through that could help inspire them or anything else that's on your heart to share with the audience.
Yeah. What's always on my heart, I've been asked this a couple of times, and what's always on my heart is that it doesn't matter how things may seem, especially now at this time, and you've got all over the news, you've got suicide rates higher, helpline rates have shot through the ceiling, domestic violence rates are through the ceiling. And I think it's really, really pertinent for people to know, especially at times like this, that it doesn't matter what you're going through. A, help is out there. Help is always out there. And B, never, ever, ever give up on you. Ever. Never give up. We've all got superpowers. We were all, put on this earth to affect change and to bring love and joy and peace and happiness to the world. If the world is just your child, then that's the world that you are influencing. If the world is your neighborhood, that's the world that you're influencing. But we were all given a gift to offer this world, and if you can't see it now, somebody can see it in you. So keep finding, keep looking, and we keep searching for your gift. And it doesn't matter how bad things get, keep telling yourself how wonderful you are, and one day you will be able to say to yourself, look back and say to your old self, didn't I tell you we could do this? You know, never, ever, ever give up on you, because you are amazing.
It's beautiful.
Whoever
I feel your work.
you are. Whoever you are amazing.
You are amazing.
Yes, you are. Thank you.
So thank you so much for coming on this show. I feel like,
Absolutely,
you know, now that I know you, our time together is going to be even more valuable, and that's the beauty of this.
Yeah.
So I thank you, and
thank you,
yeah.
and you know, thanks to the listeners.
And how could people get in contact with you?
Oh yeah, so I'm on Facebook, Suzanne Maria Smart. I am on Facebook. I am on LinkedIn, Suzanne Smart. I am in the process of having a website built for me at the moment, but I can be found on those two platforms. Also, what's the other one?
YouTube?
It's gone. Instagram.
Insta.
So yeah, I'm on Instagram, Suzanne Smart, and Just Breathe. So yeah, Just Breathe. And if anyone wants to email, I am Suzanne at just-breathe, BREATHE.online.
Beautiful. I'll put that in the link for everyone as well.
Okay.
And I just want to thank everybody for watching. Hey, Phil, Brenda, and Marcus. I love you guys so much. And I hope that everybody, Suzanne, I hope you have an amazing weekend.
Yes.
And
you too.
I will see you Sunday. And I'll see everybody else soon.
Okay.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Ciao.